Use a proto-computer to test your logic skills in Turing Machine. Thanks for joining me at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Delp. Turing Machine is a competitive logic deduction game for 1 to 4 players. It's published by Scorpion Masque and Hachette, and they sent me this copy to review. Now, I love deduction games. Now, I'm talking about logic deduction, not social deduction. Some of my favorites are The Search for Planet X and Paint the Roses. So when this game was announced, I was immediately interested. So what's it all about? I'm going to give a brief overview of the gameplay and then tell you what I think about it. The goal of the game is to find the unique 3-digit code that meets the requirements for all the criteria cards. If you're playing competitively, you're trying to be the first to find the code. Before you start the game, you have to choose which problem you're trying to solve. There are 20 listed in the rulebook, and then countless others you can access using the Turing Machine website. The problems show which criteria card and which verifier card should be lined up with each verifier, A through F. The game is played in rounds, and each round has 4 phases. Compose your proposal, question the machine, make deductions, and perform end-round procedures. There aren't any turns in the game. Each phase, players will be simultaneously performing the tasks. Composing your proposal just means making a 3-digit number using a blue, yellow, and purple punch card. This is the number you'll use in the next phase. During the question phase, you can compare your code with up to 3 of the verifiers. You place your punch cards over the verifier card and will either see a check mark or an X. To remember the results, record them on your info sheet. The results you get usually don't tell you the exact numbers in the correct code. Instead, they tell you how your proposed code compares to the specific criteria. Here's an example. I checked the code 322 with the verifier for this criteria card, which compares the yellow number to 4. I get a check mark. So what does that mean? My proposed code shares the same characteristic as the correct code. In this case, my yellow number, 2, is less than 4. So I know that the yellow number in the correct code is also less than 4. The verifier doesn't tell me what that number is, though. I'll need information from the other verifiers to logically narrow down the answer. The good news is that I don't have to question that verifier again. I already know all the information it can give me. If I had gotten an X instead of a check mark on the verifier, I would know that the yellow number is not less than 4, but I wouldn't know if it equaled 4 or was greater than 4. To be sure, I'd need to check the verifier again next round with a new proposal. The third phase of the round is making deductions. I usually just do that as part of the questioning phase as I record info. Basically, it's taking the info you know and narrowing down the options for the code. For example, if I found out the yellow number is less than 4 and the purple number is less than the yellow number, then I know the yellow number has to be 2 or 3 and the purple number is 1 or 2. During the final phase of the round, all the players place their fists in the air. On the count of 3, each player points their thumb up or down. Thumb up if they want to guess the code, thumb down if they want to go another round. If everyone puts their thumb down, you play another round by composing a new proposal code and questioning up to 3 verifiers. If someone puts their thumb up to guess the code, they check their answer against the correct one printed in the rules. If the guess is wrong, the player is eliminated. If multiple players correctly guess the code in the same round, the player who asks the fewest questions wins. If there's a tie, all tied players win. So, that was a quick overview of how the game plays. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I like deduction games, and this one is basically pure deduction. There's not a lot else going on. The gamey aspects are that you have a limit to how many questions you can ask the machine each round, and the race aspect to be the first one to crack the code. There isn't much interaction in the game. Usually everyone is heads down, focused on their own thing. But there can be some tense moments at the end of the round when players reveal their thumbs up or down. If you're close to knowing the answer, do you play it safe and hope it goes another round? Or do you gamble that others are ready to solve and you put your thumb up so you at least have a chance to answer? If you don't mind the solitaire nature, it works okay as a multiplayer competitive game. It's best if everyone is at about the same skill level. Players who don't enjoy logic puzzles could get confused and frustrated, especially with the more complex criteria cards. There are suggestions in the rulebook, though, for handicapping more experienced players if there is a big difference in skill. The games are short, less than 20-30 minutes, so you can play several in a row. Or if you find that some of your players aren't as enthusiastic about logic puzzles as I am, the short nature of the game means that they won't be stuck for hours playing something they don't enjoy. They can give it a try and see if it's for them. You can also play cooperative or solo by going to the website and seeing how you compare to the machine. You win if you can solve the code in the same number of guesses or fewer than the machine did. Here are some things that I really like about the game. I love the deduction element. Anything that has you taking notes, making observations, using logic is usually going to be a hit for me. I like that there are different levels of difficulty. The rulebook even rates the puzzles on a difficulty and luck scale. Luck can come in, especially with your initial code proposal. If you get several check marks in the first round, you don't need to check those verifiers again, so you'll probably be able to solve the code with fewer questions. But I do think you can sometimes make your own luck through strategy. I'm usually not just picking random numbers at the beginning. I'm looking at the criteria cards and trying to pick combinations that hopefully will let me make further deductions. Now, I'm not much of a solo gamer, but I think I prefer this game as a one-player experience or maybe cooperative. It reminds me of the logic books that I would work on as a kid during long car drives, my brain against the puzzle. The website even has a daily challenge you can complete. Another thing I like is the physical components. It's fun to line up the punch cards and place them on top of the verifier cards. I like that tactile experience. Although the components and physical nature of the game also leads to one of my cons. I don't enjoy setting up the puzzles. It's a little bit of a hassle to find the criteria cards and verifier cards, especially if you didn't put them back in the right place after the previous game. The verifier cards are the ones that are somewhat tedious. Each has 4 differently colored 3-digit numbers on it. It just takes a little more effort to find them and to put them back afterward. Now, I don't think the setup is a big con, but if I'm going to be playing solo, I might decide to do some online logic puzzles instead of getting out this physical game to play. Overall, I really enjoyed playing Turing Machine. It stimulates my puzzly logic deduction skills. This is definitely in the running for my top 10 games of 2022 list. If you like logic puzzles and deduction, if you enjoy games like The Search for Planet X, Alchemist, Cryptid, or Mastermind, I think you'll like Turing Machine. It puts deduction in the forefront. Let me know what deduction games are your favorite in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.